Joining us now live from directly under the Eiffel Tower. That's how he's getting cell phone reception. It is like afternoon already for the one, the only smooth Johnny Kane. Join us now for the Paris game. Pistons and Bulls tomorrow. NBA TV, 3 o'clock tip-off. Johnny Kane, how is Paris, my friend? Are you wearing a beret right now?
Bonjour. No beret on right now, but definitely been doing the as much of the tourist bit as I can. It's unbelievable, man. I don't know if you've ever been. This is really like my first true European experience, and it's unbelievable. The people are great, and they've been welcoming in every way.
Is it living up to the hype? I have never been to Europe. I have not crossed the Atlantic yet. It's on my list of things to do at some point, but I mean, how was the flight?
Yeah, I mean, the flight was all cool. We're on one of those big planes where you can recline, which was a game changer. So I've never experienced that, obviously, where you get a little pod and you can actually get your legs kicked out and the whole bit. So it was like first class in every way. But that was unbelievable. So we're 6 hours ahead. So it's basically, to try to get your mind right and your body clock adjusted. Obviously, the team got here several days in advance of the game. But it's tough to try to get the body right, especially for world-class athletes, where you say, hey, you got to be ready to go on Thursday night here, which is Thursday afternoon back home. But anyway, slowly but surely, I think everybody's getting on schedule.
Have we located Jalen Duren? Do we know where his passport is at? Do you think he'll be able to play? This is one of those things, Johnny, that people don't realize. And if you look at any college football team that has to go to the Bahamas Bowl, the headache that occurs for the director of football operations, the entire staff, to find everybody a passport, it is a circus. Jalen Duren can't find his. Is he going to be there?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess you would say silver lining is the fact that he's been, injured, so it's not as if he was going to be a big part of the game plan, because he had been injured here recently. So, I mean, if he was one of your key cogs and you were counting on him in a big way, it would certainly change the complexion of the matchup. But it is wild, man. I mean, it just goes to, like to your point, everybody has to play by the same set of rules. And when you're traveling internationally, you got to make sure you got everything buttoned up. So it's unfortunate. I feel for him. I really do, because, it's such an experience, and to be with your teammates and your brothers and everything else. And when you have something like that, you can't locate your passport. Next thing you know, you're just living vicariously through the photos and videos that everybody's sending back to you.
I mean, I wonder if he's going to get a large cheese pizza just for me, as the rest of the family went to Paris and he got stuck home alone. You see what I did there?
I know.
Is it true, Johnny, that the Detroit Pistons travel party is it up to 200 people?
I don't know, man. It's large. It is large. I mean, we're at two different hotels, and they're both fabulous. But so we're a little bit across town from one another, because obviously all the players and their families are here, and then the organization as a whole. The owner's here, Tom Goris. I saw him last night at one of the events that they had planned, and it's a large contingent, no doubt. And you have to remember this, So Chicago obviously has. They're staying at their place, and but it's a road game for them. So the Pistons, it's a home game technically. So you have your whole scorers table, you have the dance team, the Pistons entertainment crew, right? So I mean, you have everybody that would typically be associated with a home game at Little Caesars Arena that made the trip here to Paris. So we're running a larger party than what the Bulls had packed.
Wow, the entire scorers table. You know what? Good for all of those folks that got to go on that trip.
Yeah.
How cool is that? That is awesome, right? Because, I think a lot of times, we forget that there are a lot of people that, it goes all the way down to, I always mention, your ushers, your parking attendants, your concession stand people,
Yeah.
all the people that go into making the game possible. But for the scores table to actually get this opportunity to travel, I mean, I think that's what a move there by the Pistons in the NBA. I think that's fantastic. Good for them.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about it. I mean, I don't think trust me, there is not a single individual that I've met here that is taking any of it for granted. And for some people, when you say, I mean, we use it as a cliche just in life, where you say, oh, it's a once in a lifetime experience. But when you actually break that down and say, no, this is a once in a lifetime experience for the majority of the people that are here, you're soaking in every second. So it's cool because, as man, as well as anybody, the typical game day production it's not just the players that put on, that are able to make an NBA broadcast what it is, or an NBA game what it is. It's everybody that's involved in it. So the fact that everybody gets to be a part of this game, across the pond, is special, and they should be rewarded. I mean, everybody should be here that's here. So it is amazing, and you can tell that, every individual I've spoken with since we've been here is grateful for, just the experience for what it is.
Johnny Kane, can you set the scene for where you're at right now? Can you paint that picture? Because all of us now, if the folks are driving around, they're listening, like, wait a minute, Johnny's in Paris? Like, yes, Johnny is in Paris right now. Are you like, is the wind? I just imagine like those like the double doors that open up to the balcony, and you're overlooking one of those very like specific looking like corner buildings, like those structures. Yeah. I don't know what's in those. Like maybe you have like a small coffee and like a croissant in front of you with your feet kicked up. Maybe you're at a coffee shop right now. Like what's happening there?
Well, so from the time we got up, feet hit the ground this morning, headed downstairs from the hotel. We do have a little courtyard overlooking. My room overlooks this little courtyard, right in the heart of downtown Paris. Went downstairs, got a Cafe Americano to go, and got in the car with Special K, headed over to a mural where Big Ben Wallace was there, Earl Cureton. There was a mural unveiling here at one of the Parisian rec centers. From there, came back, passing the Eiffel Tower. Special K had never been to the Eiffel Tower. I was up in it yesterday. So he's like, man, I should go check it out. So we slowed the car down. We pushed Kelser out into the streets, and he headed to the Eiffel Tower by himself. We came back here. We're getting ready to head over to the Louvre. And I did have already one croissant this morning and 2 cups of coffee, and about ready for my third.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's exactly how, when we were talking about this yesterday, where we were talking about we need to get Johnny Kane or Johnny Culture. We need to get him on the phone to set the scene. It's like, is he smoking one of those long, funny cigarettes? Is he wearing a beret? How many croissants does he have? Like, these are legitimate questions that the people in Michigan need to know.
Yeah. Well, I did have a cigar. I had to pack a few cigars from home, but so I had cigars walking the streets. Well, you know what's wild, real quick, Anthony, is so there is a major strike that is taking place here in Paris, and forgive my ignorance if it's much broader than that, but like there's like a labor strike that is they're calling it like Black Thursday tomorrow, and so we had tickets to go to the Louvre tomorrow morning before the game to check everything out, Mona Lisa, and do everything, and it's closed because of this labor strike that's pending. So they had to like refund everybody's tickets, and so we're going to try to go over there today just to walk around and see it. But anyway, it's just wild because, all these, I mean, like anything, right? You say, hey, once in a lifetime trip, you go to Paris and you say, hey, did you guys go to the Louvre? And you're like, well, it was closed because of a labor strike. But I mean, that's just, the realities of life. So anyway, we're going to try to go over there, sneak over there today and check it all out. But isn't that wild?
I mean, it's crazy. I often think about this, I thought about this a lot during the World Cup and NHL games that'll pop up into my mind because we are so wrapped up in our day-to-day here. Like the big news yesterday, Ben Johnson's coming back. Big news yesterday. Right. We're going to talk about the Paris game. I thought that the NBA and NBA France did an awesome job with their promo video. It is exactly what I expected to hear and see from a promo video. I did not expect to see NBA France pumping us up as the 3-time world champions. It's been a long time since we've hoisted anything. It's been a long time since we've been in the playoffs. But if they want to call us, that's we have 3 world championships, so I'm cool with it. But maybe a little misleading, I thought. But the video was great, and then you forget that other parts of the world, as you mentioned, Paris having a labor strike. The Ukraine is in full-scale war. There are things going on all over the world that we just get caught in our little bubble of, Ben Johnson's come back to the Lions and the Pistons and the Red Wings. We get so wrapped up and concerned about our small little world in the NFL playoffs that it's there's a lot of people here on this globe, and there's a lot going on.
That's a great point. I mean, and that's why I think, coming over here, and again, even with the language barrier, not everybody here in Paris, for example, speaks fluent English. So I think it's important for anybody that gets an opportunity to travel, it's an education, and it gives you perspective on life. Because to your point, when we get so used to our day-to-day, and it's like, well, what's the most important thing? Our offense coordinator's coming back, and we got a game, and we're playing the Bulls on Thursday, or whatever it is. And then you step out of that comfort zone, if you will, and you immerse yourself into another culture, another part of the world, which is what we're experiencing here. And it's, hey, you need to adapt to the language here, the customs here. the way that business is conducted around here, and put yourself in that position, like in a minority stake of being a part of something that is much larger than you and much larger than just a game. But I think it's important, right? It's educational. It's important for everybody, from the players to the coaches to the fans to the travel party that's here, that we kind of represent not just our organization, but American tourism, the right way, and not just show up here like we own the joint. So I think it's important to see all that. And again, like tomorrow, it's a bummer we had to get our Louvre tickets refunded. But you realize, well, this is a major issue here in this part of the country, and this isn't just some, sorry to inconvenience you, you can't go to your museum. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think it's important. It's important.
Folks, what Johnny Kane just said, like when you go out of the country, you represent American tourism. That is absolutely 100% factual. So when you go out of the country, behave yourself. Conduct yourself in a manner that you would leave people with a good impression of how people here are, because that's exactly true. You're going somewhere else, and you're going to go play by somebody else's rules, and that just is right. What it is. They have different rules over there, different customs. You need to be observant of that, be respectful of it, be respectful to the people, so that they can have a good experience with an American, and so that therefore maybe that helps them in the way that they shape their views about American people as a whole. Johnny, we know that the Detroit Pistons are going to play basketball tomorrow in Paris. Are they going to play any defense in Paris? Because we haven't done a really good job of that here in the States. Why are you laughing at me? That's a serious question, Johnny.
Hey, that's a great question. I wish I could answer that. That's the toughest question you posed. I don't know, man. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But I don't even know how to respond.
I sat on that one for 12 hours. The minute Danny Cahalan said, "Hey, Johnny's going to join us from Paris," I said, "I can't wait to ask him if they're going to play any defense over there. That's going to be great." I've been waiting. I've been like a slow cooker. I was prepped for that.
It's part of the plan, I can tell you. The attempt will be made.
The attempt will be made. Do you think that the Pistons, I know that, trade deadline's coming up, All-Star game, we're getting to that time of the year. It has been a pretty lackluster season for anybody who might have had some convoluted thoughts about what this team might have been when Cade Cunningham's injury happened. I mean, that takes all the wind out of your sails. But, with the drafted of Jaden Ivey, seeing him out there on the floor, what he can do. I love Jalen Duren. I think that those two, Ivey and Duren, are going to be a part of this franchise for years to come. Those are like NBA-level athletes. Like, it's crazy. But the season, they're 12-35. Do you see this team staying pat right now, hold the ship, no worries, we're gonna move into this offseason, we're going to get everybody healthy and be more competitive in 23-24? Or do you look at this team like, hey, we're at the deadline, let's try to improve this team, this roster a little bit. Let's sell.
Yeah, I would think that based on just the way that it's gone, since Troy Weaver's been here, is he is not shy, and he is not closed off to listening to any and all comers. So if the package is right, and certainly we know that the names that are out there, and there are a lot of I would say there would be interest in a number of players, but if you look at taking away the young core, guys that I don't think would be, that they would listen on would be like a Duren or Ivey, let's say, your new guys, or Kane. But if you were to say some of your veteran guys like an Alec Burks or a Bojan Bogdanovic, if there is interest, and if you have contending teams, which there are, that are showing the type of interest and would be able to package something that was appetizing, certainly I think Troy Weaver will listen, but I don't think he's in a rush to break up what they put together here. So I think it'll be interesting come trade deadline. I don't have any inside scoop as far as what they're definitely going to do, but I think that the phones will be ringing, and I know that there is interest around the league for those two players in particular. Bojan Bogdanovic is probably the one that's garnering the most interest because he's having a career year, and he can help somebody. He's helped us, but he can certainly help a contending team that's a little bit further along. And if they wanted to make the right type of package, then I could see that potentially playing out. But it's going to be interesting. That's coming up, first week of February. So it's coming fast and furious.
And Bogey's the kind of guy that you could immediately plug and play with. I know that they don't have the capital. They'd never be able to put this together. But like the LA Lakers, for example, Bogey's the kind of guy you put with LeBron because he can stand out there and Bogey could knock it down. My goodness, is he – the one bright spot, right. You think about where this team was at, where they've struggled of late, and Sadiq Bey, and how hot he shot the basketball in year number 1, and how that's kind of tapered off a little bit. But they needed a consistent, like Bogey to me is a consistent. That's an NBA shooter. Like that's what he is a professional shooter. That's what that guy does, and it's a I'm sure that there will be a lot of teams that pick up the phone. He's got a very reasonable salary. And we'll see. I'd hate to see him go, but I understand if that's the move for the betterment of the team there, moving forward. Is Victor Wembanyama, is he around? Do we know where Wemby's at? He plays ball over there.
Seen him,
we got courtside tickets for him.
Yeah, it's arena. Haven't seen him. I would hope that I know obviously Troy and those guys have been over here to France before to watch him play. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, if he's in the arena tomorrow, it'd be special. I'm not sure what the schedule's like, where he's at, any of that. But I haven't heard as much, Wemby talk over here. But I've been plugged in with doing what I'm doing. But anyway, the Wemby mania, if you will, is alive and well back in the States. But I don't know. It's a great question. I know. Obviously, I know the international interest and the global interest in his game, but it is wild how perhaps if everything plays out and the lottery balls go the way they will, that we may be talking about the Pistons and French influence months from now.
A new version of a once coined French connection here for Détroit. Which is how it's pronounced in French. Which that's the whole reason I love the promo video they put out, because they actually said Détroit. All right, Johnny Kane, what else is you got your trip to the Louvre today? What else is on the docket for you this afternoon?
Well, we got to hit that Louvre up here momentarily, and I honestly have not done. We've been pretty busy with what we've had going on, and again, this isn't just a European vacation. I mean, we did come here to turn back some content for everybody back home. So we've been full with stuff going on. Like last night, man, I'm telling you, we went to the National Opera House of Paris, which was probably most famous or brought to life, I should say, by the Phantom of the Opera. And there was an actual opera performance, and there were ballets and a harp playing, and like it was unlike anything I had ever experienced in my life. I mean, that for sure would be a bucket list where you're flanked by 2 professional ballerinas, and and then there's a live opera performance going on, and then like you look across the way and there's Rip Hamilton and what I'm saying, like Ben Wallace and like all the current players. I mean, it's just a wild. You're like, how did we get here? What am I doing here? When am I going to get pulled by the collar and said, sir, we need to ask you to leave. But it's unbelievable some of the experiences we've had. And we got here on Monday. I mean, just in the last 48 hours. So we'll see what all plays out tonight. I know there's another reception that the team's gonna be putting on actually at the U.S. ambassador to France. I think it's at her house or something to that effect, or at least somewhere near the embassy. So it's a different world. I don't take any of, like I said before, I don't take any of it for granted. None of us do. But it's hard to, you got to take notes about all the things that have happened, because there's so much going on, and we're trying to do everything the right way. So trying to find a little bit of time, as I mentioned, to experience some things on a personal level. But as far as the work portion of it, we'll be sending stuff back to air on Bally Sports a little bit later today from that mural dedication, and then some of the stuff from the opera last night.
He is Johnny Kane. Find him on Twitter at Johnny Kane TV. Find him on Bally Sports Detroit. Johnny Culture, an international man of mystery. Thank you so much for your time today, partner. Enjoy the trip. Safe travels back home.
I appreciate it, man. Always great talking to you, Anthony.